This video is for all you leftist, Marxist, psychotic protesters who are out there in the streets right now protesting the fact that Trump went and got Maduro. You are absolutely despicable. You have no idea, no comprehension at all of why the Venezuelans are as happy as they are. I lived in Chile for 2 years and heard firsthand how many people would up and disappear during Pinochet. People who would get home too late for curfew and get shot in the head in front of their families. Countless numbers of people, thousands of them, just up and disappearing. The same thing has happened in Venezuela for the past 25 years. You could have simply had a simple conversation on a cell phone, and the next thing you know, a stream of cars will be showing up your house, dragging you out, and they will never see you ever again. My wife's family are all from Colombia, and they still live in Colombia, and she has family that are Venezuelan and live in Venezuela currently. They are ecstatic about Trump, and they are all praising Trump for what he has done at finally getting rid of an evil dictator. Because it is a very, very true story that people would just simply disappear. How would you feel that if you had a loved one out there and all they said was just a few comments that was against the regime, and next thing you know, they're just gone. Vehicles pull up, they're dragged into a car, and that's it. You'll never see them again. There's a specific reason why 8 million people have left that country. It was because of their safety. Venezuela has been the biggest refugee tragedy that has hit the world. There are a lot of refugees coming out of the Middle East, but nothing compares to the massive immigration of people leaving Venezuela that has happened over the last 20 years. Literally 8 million people have left. They are spread all over South America. They've spread out to Europe and all obviously here in the United States. All because of a man who has no care for his own people. Now I'm addressing you sick protesters out there. Because first, it was the same people out there protesting Black Lives Matter, when we all know that all you were condoning is criminals. Even the very people that raised money for your movement stole the money, purchased houses for themselves, are now facing criminal charges. That's all the Black Lives Matter was a criminal enterprise, a criminal movement. Then you moved from Black Lives Matter to anti-Israel and pro-Palestine and pro-Gazans, completely supporting terrorists, Hamas terrorists, openly supporting Hamas terrorists who did nothing but kill their own people, slaughter their own people, and slaughter Israelis. And you had this sick, demented thought process to twist that narrative to somehow point the picture at Israel that they are the one doing the mass murdering, when they were defending themselves every step of the way and doing the best they could to not kill normal citizens. But you're dealing with a terrorist organization. That's what they wanted. They wanted collateral damage. And now you've moved from a terrorist organization to a narco terrorist organization and completely supporting that. How demented do you have to be in the brain to be able to support this? To actually think that's a good idea to raise a banner that says, put Maduro back in power? Why? So he could kill more people? Make more people disappear? And that's just his own countrymen, not counting the thousands of tons of drugs that he's shipping out of his country into the United States, and the hundreds of thousands of U.S. citizens that are dying yearly because of that drug trafficking. Yes, Venezuela is ecstatic, and there is not a single Venezuelan in any of these protest movements. We're going to go through and crush all these stupid narratives one by one in this video. All these little excuses of Trump's doing this or Trump's doing this, he's got these ulterior motives. We're going to crush every single one of them one by one in this video, so keep watching. The first one is that he did not have the right to do a regime change in Venezuela. Absolute lie. He is not the president of Venezuela. He has not been the president of Venezuela for quite some time. He lost an election, over 7 million votes to his 3 million. So he lost the election by over double the amount of votes, by a landslide. He did not want to relinquish power. There was no smooth power transition like we have here in the United States. He took his narco-terrorist militia, his narco-terrorist army, and he usurped power over the Venezuelans. And he killed their economy, and he started killing anybody that stood up against him. So much so that any opponents had to leave the country in fear of their lives. He is not a legitimate president. He never has been. It doesn't matter if Chavez, who is just as evil as he is, anointed him. He did not have the voice of the people. So there is no regime change. They're simply removing an imposter and are setting it up so they can have free and fair elections again, and the Venezuelan people can have their country back. The next excuse I hear is, well, why is he going to take control of the country? Why are we going to control? Why doesn't he just hand it off? The naivety in that statement is astonishing. The Venezuelan deep state makes our deep state here in the United States look like child's play. The entire government, from the federal government, the military, the cities, everything, they're all Maduro supporters. They're all Maduro appointees. They're all narco-terrorists. If anybody good were to be put in power right now, they would be killed instantly. Killed right on the very seats that they were sitting in. This is going to be deep and extensive work to root out all the Maduro supporters within the government, down to the lowest levels. Again, everybody within every branch of government, of the Venezuelan government, everybody within city governments or province governments, all of them, the military, all of them have to be completely rooted out, or there will be civil war in Venezuela, because there's still a significant amount of Chavez supporters who want to do nothing but impose their power and authority over the rest of the population. And they will do it through murder and death. I do not envy what Trump is going to have to do and how involved we're going to have to become in order to root out that much evil, to ensure that the people are free and there's not going to be any retribution once we move out, to where people are getting lined up in the streets and slaughtered by the opposition, by the Maduro and Chavez supporters. It's going to take extensive amounts of work to root that out, to ensure that the people are absolutely free. And the people are supporting Trump 100% in this decision. Doesn't matter what part of the world they're from, you ask a Venezuelan and they're fully backing Trump. Even those that were supposed to be in power right now are fully backing him and saying, we trust what he is doing, even though they're not sticking us back in power. Why? Because they know if they were to go back now, it is still a death sentence. Even now, since Maduro's been out for only a few days, my wife's family is telling us there are still, at this point, today, yesterday, people disappearing. Venezuelans tried to go out in the streets and are continuing to try to go out in the streets to celebrate the removal of Maduro. And there are people getting rounded up still and disappearing, even now, which is why you're not seeing these massive celebrations. You started to see them, but now they're getting hushed up again because everybody is running afraid, because there's still way too much power in that government that is controlling free speech, free will, and the ability for the people to get out there. You're going to see pockets of it, but they are risking their lives even at this moment. That is a fact on the ground. That is undeniable because we are hearing it firsthand from my wife's family. There is extensive deep state that has got to be rooted out, and it is going to take a long time to figure out who's who and to make sure the right people are in power to not only ensure that Iran influences or China influences or Russia influences are not there, but most importantly, that the terrorist organization, the narco traffickers that are there, the cartels that are there in Venezuela and Colombia are not in control, and they do not have puppets within the government. You're seeing the puppets all over in Colombia. You're seeing the puppets all over in Mexico. These are serious and very, very deep problems. The cartels there have extensive amounts of power and control, and they have a long reach. And they will threaten anybody and everybody with their lives. And they will kill mercilessly. Men, women, kids, babies, they do not care. If you do not step in line, you will die. And all of that has to be rooted out before they can have a good, solid government that can stay in power without the leadership literally just being killed, or their family members being killed, or them being blackmailed into obedience by cartel members and whoever else is Maduro supporters or Chavez supporters. This is a massive problem, significantly deeper than you can possibly imagine. So he was right at taking him out of power, and he is very, very right in saying that we've got to control until there can be a smooth transition, and it's going to take some time. The next excuse I hear is, well, he's going to steal all the oil, and he's going to sell it, and what are the people going to do? There is nobody in Venezuela right now that can honestly sell the oil where the money will go back to the people and support the people. That does not exist in that country. If anybody within power in that government were to get their hands on any of that money, they would keep it and go to their own ends to support narco-terrorism, drug trafficking, and everything they're currently doing right now. It would never, ever, ever get to the people in any way, shape, or form, just like it hasn't ever gotten to the people in the last 25 years. None of that money is going to fixing up streets or fixing hospitals, fixing infrastructure, building the economy. None of that money is making it to the people. It is all staying at the top, making them live in these lavish lifestyles, and to promote drug trafficking further. Trump has to control the oil, for one, that he can make sure that the money goes to the right place and actually builds that country. The second thing that Trump has to make sure of is that it's not the U.S. taxpayers' job to rebuild that country. We are not nation builders, and we should not be nation builders. We have to ensure that there is freedom in our hemisphere, but they have the commodities necessary to pay for all their own infrastructure and to pay for all this on their own. So as long as we control the flow of money, we can ensure that the government can get put in place correctly with the right people, and that all the money goes towards that infrastructure, and none of U.S. taxpayer dime has to go to pay for anything down there in Venezuela. It is not a burden that the U.S. taxpayers should have. So the oil, the gold, and all those other precious metals that Venezuela is full of, is probably the number one country on the planet with all of that. They have more oil than Saudi Arabia in the Middle East. They have more gold than Africa. They're a mine of treasures, and they have plenty to be able to pay for their own infrastructure and get their own economy back up and running. But there is, again, I'll say it, nobody in government right now that is honest enough to make sure that that money goes to building up a good quality democratic government or to build any infrastructure at all whatsoever to help the people. You're going to see a lot of Venezuelans in other countries celebrating over the next few weeks and months. But it's going to be fairly quiet in Venezuela itself until they feel like it is safe. You're going to have a lot of Venezuelans here in the United States and throughout the world that are going to be saying, I want to move back. I want to help build my homeland. But they're not going to go back until they feel like it is safe over there. The entire government, the entire network has got to be rooted out before anything can be done. It is going to take a long time to do that. There are a lot of people within the Venezuelan government, within the Venezuelan army, that would rather put a gun to your head and pull the trigger than relinquish their power, to relinquish the money that they're making, or to put any measure of care or concern towards their own citizens. They do not care. So again, all you evil, evil protesters out there, you should be absolutely ashamed of yourselves. You should go home. You have no idea what happens in these countries and the depth of the carnage that cartels create and those who support them. Mexico is a lost country. It is a narco state. That president down there, she is completely controlled by cartels. It is the only reason why she is making so many comments condemning Trump's actions, because she is an absolute puppet to cartels. President Petro of Colombia is the same thing. My wife, her family, her extensive family, all their friends cannot stand him, and they're looking forward to this June where they can vote him out of office. And if he does not step down when voted out, because he probably will be voted out, then Trump can step in and remove him as well, ensuring that the people can have their freedom of voice and have the person in power who they elected in. And yes, Trump has to walk a very, very fine line with the rest of the world and with our own Congress, because the rest of the world and even our own Congress do not understand what the reality is on the ground over there. Even those strong conservative Republicans that we have in the House and in the Senate are going to be unnecessarily reserved about what Trump did in taking Maduro out of power and what he's going to have to continue to do to ensure that a Democratic new president can stay in power and they can redo the entire government. Every single employee, every single official within that government's got to be taken out. All of them. It's thousands of people that have to be taken out. Taken out of office, taken out of positions, fired, let go. They cannot be in power or any position of authority or say over the people. It has got to be completely redone top to bottom. Completely. Start over from scratch. That is the only way that Venezuela is going to be able to survive. They've had too many years of Maduro and Chavez. It is too deep, too many people on their side. The reason that China was in there is because they want control and they want oil and they want a new platform to be able to sell their drugs, all their fentanyl, and get it here in the United States. China knows exactly what they're doing when they sell fentanyl to the cartels. They know exactly where it's going. The Communist Party of China wants those drugs within the United States so they can destroy us from within. They know a full-out war with the United States is not possible. They cannot be the supreme leaders of the world. They cannot take the United States' place in the world as being the top dog without bringing us down. And they know exactly what they're doing by bringing us down through drug overdoses and destruction from within. Russia could care less about Venezuela or their oil. They have plenty of oil of their own. Putin wants a foothold in the Western Hemisphere. That is his goal. That is why he is supporting Venezuela. He wants a foothold, just like we have bases throughout Europe and Germany and Ukraine and all these other places where we have a foothold. Russia nor China have a foothold in the Western Hemisphere, and we have to keep it that way. It's one of the biggest things that Trump is trying to prevent, and it's a national security issue, is having anything with Russia or anything in China that has a foothold in the Western Hemisphere, period. That is a massive national security interest. So Trump has plenty of precedent to have taken Maduro out, to remove a dictator that should not have been there in the first place, and to defend United States interests in the Western Hemisphere. And as much as those leftist idiots that are out in the streets are going to push it, as much as the Democrats are going to push on this, and even a lot in the old Republican Party are going to push against this, they're all evil and deceiving themselves because Trump did the absolute right thing. You can ask anybody in these countries, anybody in Colombia, anybody in Venezuela, they're all supporting Trump and ecstatic about what he's doing and fully trust and support him because they've had no hope at all whatsoever to anything. It was a lost cause. Somebody else had to step in because they could not take their country back. It was absolutely impossible. They did not have the power. They did not have the means to be able to do that. Not through civil war, not through, by any means could they have conquered the Maduro regime. It would have been a slaughter. And it has been a secret slaughter for 20 years now. I want to fully condemn anybody in the streets protesting against this. Absolutely, you should be absolutely ashamed of yourselves. I'm calling you out. Go home. This is Uriah Kennedy from the God and Country podcast. Support our channels on YouTube, TikTok, X, and Instagram. Help us get out there. Help us go viral. Support this channel. Donate on our website to help us grow larger. We need your support.
As a child, I grew up shooting BB guns. I was probably shooting my sister's dolls more often than anything else, but there was nothing like growing up and learning how to shoot accurately and learning how to take care of a firearm. There is no better way of doing that as a parent than being able to teach your children good firearm safety by using a BB gun or a pellet gun. Not only that, but it provides a lot of enduring fun for yourself as an adult and something you can do father and son or father and daughter. There are great equipment out there, and we want to introduce you to Crosman. Crosman's been around for a long time. I've always had a Crosman growing up. Crosmans provide excellent accuracy and a lot of power for a BB gun. There's a lot of different styles to choose from different types of air rifles and pistols, even to fully automatic BB guns and other types of air guns. You need to go to the link in our description or click on the QR code that's coming up on your screen to be able to go to Crosman and make those BB gun purchases, those air rifle purchases. Again, it's going to supply you hours of fun and enjoyment with you and your kids as well as you as an adult. And BBs are a lot less expensive than actual ammunition. So go to Crosman by using the link in our description or the QR code that's popping up on the screen and enjoy the accuracy, the quality of construction, and the hours of family fun that you will have with these air rifles and BB guns. Again, the link in the description, the QR code that's popping up on your screen, and then support our channel. Thank you.